Hello everyone, welcome to my first commentated Streets of Rage 3 boss video. Today I'll be going over boss 6, which is Jet and Rocket. So let's get started. So the first thing you'll notice is that I take out a Rocket almost immediately. And I do it a little farther right of the screen after he spawns so that the Jet does not go on my same plane and disrupt my fight. So I take out one Rocket here almost immediately. Now you're probably asking, hey Kevin, why don't you take out both Rockets? Wouldn't that be better so you can fight Jet all by yourself? Well, that's not necessarily true, because if you take out both Rockets right in the beginning of the fight, they'll both respawn, and I believe you have to take them out 5 or 6 times before they indefinitely stay off of the screen. But even though they do spawn a finite amount of times, I believe you have to kill them both 5 or 6 times before they completely despawn. But I believe it's 5 or 6 times. Don't quote me on that, because I've never gotten that far. But that's just from word of mouth from somebody else. So I don't want to do it. Fighting both Rockets and the Jet is a pain in the ass, and this is a speed run, so we want to finish this as fast as possible. So we took out one Rocket here. Now the main source of damage that I'm going to be doing to Jet, which is the main boss, is to bait him into doing a dive just like that, by going on his same plane and forcing him to go up in the air and dive down like that. Now why do I do that? Well, that is one of the only safe ways I can actually grab him and throw him to the ground, or 1-2 stun lock him. And I'll get to the 1-2 stun lock here in a bit. Now, if you try to grab Jet on his own without knocking him down, well, the chances are probably 99.99999% of the time he will grab you and throw you, because his throw range and his throw priority is insane over yours if he's not grounded or baited to do a dive. So basically, that basically says you can't grab him as long as he's not downed, so don't try it. So you can see on the ground there for a second, he was kind of right there. He's kind of floating along. When he's not bobbing up and down, you can grab him. That's one of the only times that you can actually grab him or punch him safely. So we're going to be doing the 1-2 elbow here, stun lock trick. Okay, I'm going to explain that mechanic. So as Blaze, if you hit B 3 times, and if you wait for the enemy's hitbox to completely reset and go neutral, you can do it again. And you can essentially, quote-unquote, stun lock your enemy, as long as your rhythm is good, and as long as the flow is not disrupted by any other enemy. If you have them stacked on top of each other, you can stun lock that entire group of enemies indefinitely for, well, as long as your rhythm is good. But I'm not standing still completely, because there's a Rocket on top of me, and the Rocket somewhat reacts to your movements. So you see me moving back and forth to manipulate him, and I just got grabbed right there. I wasn't expecting that. Again, 1-2 elbow, bait him into coming down, and boom, right here, I can grab him and slam. Now, when he's down on the ground like that, this is a golden opportunity to bait him again into doing basically another free dive. So if you just stand directly in front of him, I'd probably say a couple sprites away, he will always try to dive. So here we go. I'm standing, and he will dive, and I can grab him again. Now right here, I'm going to rewind a little bit. As soon as I grab him, now, the Rocket, their Superman punch can be cancelled by a jab, because their hitbox and the way that they can hit you, besides the grabbing you and throwing you, is their jetpack. You see the flames coming out of the jetpack? It's a huge hit range, and it can damage you, and which is weird, but it can damage you. But the punch itself doesn't have any hitbox. It's the jetpack that has the damage on you. So you can cancel out the rocket's Superman punch by just a jab, just like that. And that's one thing to remember while waiting for the jet to come back up, so you can bait him again. Coming down, but unfortunately here, yep, he dove twice. So I'm taking advantage of plane manipulation, because once again, the rocket's hitboxes for you are his jetpack, and I got grabbed again twice. You can see I just took 2 hits and half my life is already gone. 4 hits basically and you're dead. That's all you can take in this whole fight if you're going deathless like I am. Again, bait him to come up, throw him again, boom, boom, boom. Now, this is the perfect example to answer the question why I don't kill both rockets in the beginning. You can see rocket number 1 is already starting to creep up on the left side, and rocket number 2 will creep up on the right a few seconds after. Unless you want to do this 5 or 6 times repeatedly, be my guest, but again, this is a speed run, and it's going to be a deathless speed run from stages 1 through 7 until the very end. And I want to kill the boss as fast as possible with as little trouble as possible. So again, I'm going to be trying to bait Jet into rocket punching and getting on my plane and diving, while focusing on a rocket to take out as well. Now I got a little greedy there, and there you go. That's 3 hits that I took, and my life was basically 90% gone. That's only 3 hits. So right now I'm just avoiding all of them, trying to get them away from me, trying to position one of the rockets so I can hit him one more time. And there we go. Rocket down. Now, they make it a priority to try and get on top of you if you're going back and forth, so they can throw you. Like I said, their hit range is insane. And their throw range is just, it's so cheap. But that's the fight. So you can see a perfect example of what happened. Let's see, is this the right one? Let's see here, let's rewind a little bit more. I think this is the one. So I thought I was safe by not being on the same plane, but again, the rocket's hit detection on those jetpacks is stupid. And see, right there. See, the Superman punch didn't damage me. It was the jetpack, which is why you can cancel out the rocket's Superman punch with just a jab. But it does a shitload of damage. It does a quarter of your damage, and it's just insanely cheap. But that fight I made it look a little easier than it actually is. Unless you've speed ran this game or played this boss not casually, you have no idea how difficult this fight is as a whole. You're dealing with 6 life bars and 2 rockets, which spawn a lot of times, and you're only afforded 4 hits tops before you're dead. Now, there was an attack that you didn't see from Jet, which was his roll attack. If you get hit by all of his attacks, it will take off over 90% of your damage, and that is also a dive attack, so you need to be very careful if he does that attack. He normally does it when he's a shorter distance off the ground, and then he dives and he rolls at you. The only way you can get away from that is by dodging it or by using your neutral A special. But again, 3 things to know. 1, Rocket's Superman punch can be cancelled out by a simple jab. 2, one of the only times you can throw Jet, the main boss, is if you bait him into a dive. And 3, try to manipulate the planes to the point where you can try and bait him to dive. So I hope this video helps, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Take care.